That's how you scale. And the cost of building that ADU, you're going to get a 1% and more rule in real estate.
The military taught us discipline, it taught us leadership, but it never taught us how to really build wealth and income. This is the Active Duty Passive Income Podcast, and I'm your host, Markian, a United States Marine turned full-time real estate investor and educator. I'm bringing you the most successful military, veteran, and military spouse real estate investors, entrepreneurs, and industry experts to break down exactly how they did it, so you can too. With ADPI, I'm like tingling right now, okay? This is going to be such a fun episode. Like, buckle up if you're in the car, strap in mentally. We're about to, as our guest said, we're about to go on the fly, just hook and jab, talk about mindset and talk about his story. I am so excited to announce that Thach Nguyen is today's guest. And he's gonna, I mean, if you guys don't know who he is, I cannot wait for you to hear his story. Okay, go look him up on social media after this, because he is a powerhouse. You're going to see how intense his energy is, how excited he is. He's a fellow immigrant, so I can't wait for him to tell his inspirational story, starting from basically nothing to just multiple millions. And just, I mean, the way he explains stuff sparks curiosity, and it's exciting. And so I'm gonna real quick, Thatch, before you jump in, he's going to be our keynote speaker at this year's Military Real Estate Investing Conference. Guys, his story, from what I've heard from everybody, is awesome on stage. It is powerful on stage. And this is our 4th annual conference. The military and veteran community needs to hear these stories. And just real quick, if you have not got your tickets, we literally have like 24 tickets left. That's it. Like, we're officially selling out this year. So I cannot wait. It's going to be in San Antonio from the 10th to the 12th of October. Go to militaryreicon.com, put in the coupon code DADU, and you'll get an awesome discount. Or also I'll see if we can, anyway, I'll leave it at that. I want to get you in here. Thach, welcome. How are you?
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, man. How's life? How are you doing today on this fine day?
Man, it's actually, I'm excited, but I'm also a little sad because tonight's the last night that my older son, Russell, will be staying here tonight, because tomorrow morning he is heading off to his 2nd year in college, right? I live in Seattle. He's going to school in California. So he'd been home since the summer. So now they're getting ready to go off to college again, 2nd year. So if anyone's watching this, I tell you, it seemed like it was yesterday, and you probably hear this 1,000 times. It seemed like it was yesterday when he was born. It was yesterday, I remember, that, he was crying every night at night, you know what I mean? All right. Grandma, been taking care of him. It was yesterday. I remember I dropped him off at preschool and the guy was crying. He didn't want to go to preschool. It was yesterday that he started playing Little League soccer, Little League baseball. It was yesterday I used to coach the team with the other coaches and watch him play, him and Hudson, right? They're like 2 years apart from each other. And it was yesterday that he got a driver's license. And it was yesterday he graduated from high school. And, it was yesterday, you guys, that, he was 19. He just turned 20 on Monday. So he entered into the world of the 20. And so who knows where he's going to be at, you know what I mean? After he graduates from college, we hope that, he loves Seattle. He likes to stay around his family. But this is why my mentor told me a while ago, you guys, we have 18 good years with our kids. Because after 18 years, when they're off to college, it ain't the same no more. So when you're going
to get me emotional right now. I have 3 boys, and they're like 8, 5, and 2.
You already know, bro. I'm telling you.
I dropped them off at school every day.
There you go.
Today, my wife texted me. She's like, "Did Luca cry? Because he's 2, and he's still getting used to it." I was like, "No, today he said I'm gonna play with my friends, and he didn't cry, and it was just like tiptoeing out of the room."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I think about this every day,
bro. You gonna remember, because when you drop him off to college, All the memory discs.
That's crazy. And like, do you feel like yours? I mean, you inspire so many people, and you're about to tell us your story, right? And but when it comes to your kids, I mean, me also as a dad, like you know, we pour ourselves into our kids, and we try to like, you know, not overdo it, but not underdo it. It's kind of like, I heard a quote by Patrick Bet David. He's like, the hardest thing about being a parent is that you have to force almost and teach your kids. I'm paraphrasing. Teach your kids to live without you, even though you can't live without them.
Yeah,
And he's like, "That's the hardest damn thing."
it
So
is.
do you find yourself doing that a lot? Like trying to push them, like teach them to be independent and
Of course.
with all your success, but it's hard, right?
Look, I tell you, coming from nothing
Yeah.
and being where I'm at, everybody, there is life lesson, there is skill set, there is mindset in the struggle. You got to embrace the
Got it.
struggle. You got to love it. If you don't give
Yeah.
a kid the opportunity to go through struggle, then you're robbing them from the mindset
Yeah.
and the skill set that they learned in their journey that you can't teach them. You can't.
Yeah.
When you got money, you want to do things for them. You want to give them things. And then what happens when you do that and they don't end up doing it, as simple as laundry, for example, you robbing them
Mhm.
from being responsible. You robbing them from learning, right? And there's life lesson in grit. There's life lesson in learn how to solve problem. You can't teach that. You only can experience it. So that's why it's important that as all of us make money, the best way to create generational wealth is to teach them how to fish versus give them the fish.
Oh my gosh, you are spot on. And okay, so so let's just take a step back.
Yes.
Where did you how did you learn all this? What's your story? Like, I'm gonna be honest, I mean, who knows? Actually, Hormozy always jokes like nobody knows who you are. So let's just pretend nobody knows who you are. We have our military community listening to
Yep.
what is your story? Where did this all start? What inspired you?
When I was 5 years old, we lived in Vietnam. My dad was 31. My mom was 29. My dad actually was a translator for the U.S. Army in Vietnam. Did
No
his work.
kidding. Okay.
Yeah. So, and what happened was when the U.S. troop decided to pull out of Vietnam in 1975, his boss and everybody said, "Hey, we're pulling out. If you want to come, you should come with us because we're gonna be heading out of here on the last plane. If you stay and the Vietnamese communist takes over, right? They're probably going to go kill all the Vietnamese person, you know what I mean, who worked with the US." I remember back then, the people who took over was the Vietnamese communists. So that's a whole different regime, right? And so my dad decided, you know what? We're gonna leave to the US. I want you got to think about this. 31, 29. My dad spoke some English. My mom didn't speak no English. We have My mom was pregnant and I have four brothers. And I was five. My older brother was, 8 and 9. My younger brother, right, was like 4. And so here we are, no money, $100 for the whole entire family, one suitcase, and we left on the last plane with the US military to the US. And then when we landed, you guys, we landed in San Diego at Camp Pennington. If anybody know what Camp Pennington is, that's where the Marine Corps corporate base, and they converted all those barracks into refugee camps.
No kidding.
And so we stayed there
Wow.
for a few months, and then Governor Evans at the time needed to help migrate the refugee, so he actually took 500 refugees from Camp Pennington, Pennington,
Miramar?
yeah, Camp
Pendleton. Okay.
Pennington. And then we end up coming to Seattle, and we stay. If anybody know, it's called Fort Lewis. It's the military base in Seattle called Fort Lewis, and they turned those barracks into refugee camp, and we stayed there for a few months. And you can't leave the barracks and the refugee camp unless you get a sponsor. So the gentleman named Charles Zettler was a sponsor helping, and he decided to take us in, living with him and his mom. His mom was in her late 40s, and Charles was in his basically early, I think early 50s. I think the mom was like 50 something, and Charles was in his 30 something, and he sponsored our family to go live with him. And they used to take care of us, drive my dad to work and everything. And finally, we moved up closer to Seattle. 2 years after living with Charles, my dad got a job as a custodian, and he worked his way into being a social worker, helping other Vietnamese family get welfare, later on. And I grew up in South Seattle all my life, and that's how I got involved. I graduated from high school. I went to aviation airplane. I was gonna fix airplane like my two older brother, and I just didn't have the same passion that they did. And I got into sales.
Mm.
It happened to be in real estate sale, which I love because I love sales. I just didn't know nothing about real estate at 21, but I learned about real estate and I learned about sales, and I combined the two together. And then I just got some mentor, all right, to help me understand how to do real estate better. And that was the beginning of my real estate career. But my past, you guys, is that my dad, you know what I mean? He was in the service back then, and he worked with the US troops, and that's how, that's why I'm excited, bro. When they asked me to come speak at this event, I got a lot of pictures of my dad and all of us in Vietnam with military. And so when I come to speak at this,
Yes.
it's gonna be fucking good, I'm telling you.
So please make sure some of those are on the projector. That'll be so cool to see those pictures.
Got a lot of them.
That's gonna be so cool. And so, okay, yes, all of those, the bases, the forts, like all military community, we're all familiar with those. That's really, really cool. I mean, what's incredible to me is that there's a family, like nobody forced them to do that, but they took you guys in. Like that's incredible. Like the human kindness and giving back.
Yeah.
And helping you guys get on your feet. Like my grandpa, same thing. And I to this day, I'm like, there's so many people that helped them when they landed in the United States. There's like, they're Ukrainians that are originally from Croatia and former Yugoslavia. There's like religious suppression and all sorts of stuff. And they ran out of there. And my mom was too. And they just like landed in America and if some, I can't remember how it happened, but if there's one individual didn't give him a job opportunity, for no reason other than just human kindness, I don't know what would have happened to them.
Yeah, I tell you, bro, that was the first time I experienced contribution with no agenda. And that's why today,
wow,
I have 7 core value in life. Core value number 1 is abundance. Anything is possible. And abundance meaning air, freedom, money, right? Just freedom. Second, contribution. Third, growth. It's all about growing and learning. I posted the other day, if you ain't learning and growing, you're always gonna slide backwards.
You're dying. Yeah.
Next is creativity. Next, with abundance, contribution, growth, but also one of my core value in life now is simplicity. I like to have a real simple life and just do what I love and go deep on it. My next one, balance and joy. And sometimes I put the 8th one in is basically family and everything. That's part of all contribution anyway. But
yeah.
if I don't line up to my core value, I'm a no.
Yeah. That's interesting because
this is why when you guys
what?
speak, right? I was a yes because it's military. I have background around it. It's real estate, right? And I want to make a difference to the military people for my story.
Gosh, I speak for the entire military community that this, I believe, maybe that's a very weighty thing for me to say, but I'll say it anyways. And it's that we're very thankful for anybody that contributes to our financial success because so for example, I'm extremely thankful for what the military has done for me. Like I remember my dad was like in tears when I like joined the Naval Academy because he was like, this is a big step for our family because it was like a solidifying of like our family who came in as immigrants. Because by the way, even though I'm technically a 3rd generation immigrant, I was born and grew up in Ukraine as well because my parents moved back for a while for my dad's job. So I came here straight up as a Ukrainian kid, basically. And when I went to the Naval Academy, to my dad, he felt like it was that like this solidifying that America has adopted our family. You know what I mean? And so what I learned in the military though is even though there's like comfort, or it's not comfort in your job. The job is not comfortable, right? By any stretch of the imagination, but you do have like very solid basic benefits and financial backing, you know?
Yep.
But what I'm worried about, and this is why ADPI is so intentional about our mission, is that can sometimes stop your growth financially or in an identity outside of the military, right? And it becomes very difficult for military because when you're thinking, we even call it sometimes jokingly, what am I going to do when I grow up, right? You think of after the military being, okay, that's when I'm a grown up, because that's what it feels like. You're taken care of, even though you have bullets whizzing by, you're flying helicopters or whatever. But then everything else in life, it feels like, okay, it's something new. You don't have, we joke that like your DD 214 or your military paycheck is like a warm blanket sometimes. And then like you have to get out of that, right? And you have to learn how to, and also I talk about like this almost like a fixed mindset of financial mindset, where it's like you look at a pay chart and there's literally a spreadsheet that tells me what my paycheck is. And everybody knows. And I look, okay, next year it might grow 2%, and then I get another rank and it'll go up a little bit, and that's it. You're fixed on that.
Yeah.
And so you teach, like, this is so important. These events are so important. People like yourself is so important, is to help us understand, how do you break out of thinking that everything's fixed for you?
Yeah. Right now, I have a couple of students that are ex special forces in my program.
Okay. Yeah.
And I know, bro, I coach them right now personally, one-on-one. And one of the things that I spend time coaching them, I realize that they have to let go of the old mindset of what they was learned, because it worked when they was, when they was doing that, because they have to be this intense, this focused, they have to be this precise, and before they actually pull the trigger and go. Because both of them were basically in high position of special forces, and they were responsible for their whole entire troop. But in real estate, it don't have to be like that. It's okay to make mistakes. No one's gonna die. And sometimes people that come out of there, they need to make sure the I's and T's, the F, the K is all dotted before they pull the trigger. And the problem, they can't get going, or they don't want to take risk because they don't want to die. But it's okay because, right? It's real estate. No one dies in here. You buy something, someone can help you analyze it, and if it makes sense, you go with it, and you gotta trust that. But they've been so trained, so it's a mindset shift. I noticed with working with military, because they've been trained this real way, right? This way where you got to make sure you're right, otherwise people's gonna die. And so when they try to this mindset on real estate investing, they bring that over, and that's why sometimes they have a hard time finding deal, executing on deal, because they think of that same. They use that same mindset to solve real estate.
Gosh, no, that is such a good point. And everybody says that like analysis paralysis is probably like the biggest issue for most beginner real estate investors, to kind of like believe in yourself, have that confidence, and finally do a thing instead of just reading about it or analyzing spreadsheets all the time. But I think you're probably spot on. I mean, I know you're spot on that, like in the military, it's probably exacerbated because that's what you're inculcated and trained in that type of mindset for so long. And it's for your own benefit. Like it's to keep you alive.
And it works when you're here in the military. But that's you don't need that extremeness when it comes down to shifting gear and owning rental. So like I can think of one of the students right now that's been seeing deals, analyzing it, and then just passing on it. Seeing deal, by the time we come around to it, it's already sold. And I used to think that's an agent, but the more we dig into it, the more I realize he was in the Marine Special Force. He's in charge of the whole platoon, and he has to be 100% like ... 9, to make sure it's that precise before he go, let's move in. And he take that same mindset when he evaluate deal. And this is why some people might call it procrastination, but it's not. It's more of a mindset blockage.
Okay, so let's go down that vein a little bit. So
Yep.
in today's economy,
Yes.
the world's a little crazy.
Yeah.
The economy's a little crazy.
Yep.
And, the 1% rule doesn't necessarily apply all the time.
Yep.
Actually, Brandon Turner was at our event last year and we were sitting down for lunch before he got on stage. And he said something to me that I think it is where all of us have to start like shifting our mindset to. And I know that this is how you think about it, but he said, it's not so much will it cash flow anymore. It's how do you make it cash flow?
How do you create?
And that how do you, yeah, and it was like a light bulb went off and I was like, wait a second, we have to go from junior varsity to varsity.
That's
We
right.
have to train for the Olympics. We have to think outside of the box
Right.
and say, what can I do differently? And that's where I know you're an absolute expert. And maybe we can get a little tactical right now. Like, what do you do what do you see with your students and everything that you're doing that is helping in this current environment?
Yes. Well, the good thing, everyone, rates are coming down and it's coming down pretty fast, which gonna make it much easier to cash flow. So that's one. The problem why I didn't cash flow the last 1 or 2 years, the rates was in the high sevens, right? And now it's getting down to the low six, right? And soon it's gonna continue. So that's one element that really, determine cash flow, not cash flow. That's one. But then it's come down to what you buy and where you buy.
Mm-hmm.
When you buy real estate, there's two types of property you can buy. One is what I call turnkey, already nice, market value. You pay in that, right? You don't have to mess with it. It's easy. Now, depending on the rates, before when rates is in the high seven, it's hard to cash flow any turnkey property depending where you live. If you live in the Midwest, or you live more in certain area that in the East Coast, that's like Tampa or any area where the price point a little bit more affordable, you could buy something in the 350 with the mid 6 7s. You could probably break even with 20% down. But anywhere that's expensive, it ain't gonna happen, right? And so there's another way how we create cash flow, which we have to buy property that needs some work. We call it value.
Right. Right.
So you buy the property at a lower price, which help create lower mortgage, and then you trade your time and your some money to go and rehab it, and you spike the value to get it to market value. You get to create sweat equity, but the most important thing, your mortgage is based down here, what you bought, but the rent's based up here for what the value is up here, like everything else.
Right.
And this is how you create cash flow. And this works well in lower end neighborhood, like the Midwest, Tampa, all the other area. It just helps even better than just turnkey. But if you're in a high-end market like Seattle, LA, New York, you have to do value add. If you take a look at anybody who's super successful in real estate, even the multifamily people and the commercial, they buy value add property. They have to create.
I just bought a 72 unit in the exact same way.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm curious. Do you make sure? I mean, I know it's always a calculation, but like your first initial look when you're looking at something, do you put a lot of effort in trying to get it at a discount also? Because that also creates value out of thin air.
Of course it does.
Right? Even though this says value add, but do you focus on like just really hardline negotiating?
Of course, because all opportunity lies in when you buy it. What you create afterwards is your own thing you did. You know what I mean? So yes, right. If someone has an apartment building and and based on the rent and everything, right, it might be potential to be up here and it's worth 5 mil, but right now the rent's down here, but it's only worth 3. I'm gonna give him 3 for it because that's what he got. And then I will go in and I will create the value to make it worth 5.
What tactical approach maybe you could share that like you find helps you get something at a discount before you even start adding your own value? Is there something that you like to say even like, because you said you were in sales, like it's all about helping people get over their own objections and influence them for a win-win, right? So is there something you do?
Yeah. I think the most important thing is you got to take the time and build rapport with a seller. If you don't build rapport with a seller, you are playing tennis against the seller. If you build rapport, then you play double with the seller. You come on the
Okay.
other side and you play with them, not against them. And when you play with them, then they can honestly tell you why I'm selling, what's important about selling, what I owe, what I really, really need, not what I want. And then from there, all that information is not using that against them, but they're honest now. That's I want 5 million, but really honestly, I mean, I own this thing only for $1 million. I got it for like, 500 grand. And honestly, I'm selling this because I'm old. I'm going to live with my daughter in New York, blah, blah, blah. And then I just show them data. Based on what you have, it's worth this. What I'm going to do with it to make it worth this is my money, my time, my energy. If you want to make that, do it, trade in your time, energy, and get that, I'll buy it for this. But right now, based on the house or the apartment building, it's worth this. And so you can negotiate with a seller who don't have rapport with you. You gotta start with rapport.
So let me just say that again, make sure I understand it. You're saying you can't really negotiate unless you have rapport first, because otherwise it's not a negotiation. It's like a battle.
That's it. It's a battle.
Okay.
See, most people think negotiating, you fight, I gotta go fight them, right? But have you?
Yeah.
Everybody had experienced this. Everybody had experience when they met a seller and they instantly had instant rapport, and the seller wanted to just give you the property.
Yeah.
So the most important thing is dig for motivation and get in rapport with the seller.
And is it something that you say? Sorry, what?
I said, and then negotiate come naturally.
Got it. Is there something you like to kind of start off with? Do you kind of share something about yourself? I know I'm getting like very tactical, but I think this is like where the real value is, like, because it also gives us a glimpse into your mindset and when you're approaching. Well, how do you like opening this stuff up?
Yeah. I'm going to give you guys a hint, and everyone should learn this. And my good friend Matthew Ferry teaches this. Okay. If you go to matthewferry.com, you'll find him. There is a communication skill that's called NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming. And the whole history about NLP is that two doctor was called in to try to treat this psycho person, and everyone was fighting against this person. And these doctor came in and they actually learned how to be with this person versus fighting with this person. And when they were being with this person became in rapport with them, then they can treat this person better. So in NLP, they teach you how to build instant rapport. And one way to build instant rapport is not like, you got a dog, I got a dog. You're from Vietnam, I'm from Vietnam. But it's easier if you're from Vietnam and I'm from Vietnam, because the one way to build rapport is you have to speak in the tonality, this rate of speech similar to them. You're not mocking them. You're learning how to be in their tribe. So it's easy for me to build rapport with Vietnamese people because I speak fast. I speak with a certain accent. And so when you meet them, it feels like you're in rapport. But if you're not in Vietnamese, you got to learn how to speak a little bit fast. So they teach you how to, mirror match rate of speech, tonality, body language. So when you learn how to actually mirror these things in the first 30 seconds, they feel in rapport. And it's really the first 30 to 45 seconds is when you build all rapport.
Wow, that quickly.
Be like them. Yeah.
Can I be honest with you for a second? Thatch, I watched your videos, right? And I mean, I don't know everything about you, but I definitely know about you. And the one thing that always stood out to me was kind of like you said, faster speech, high energy. It is a part of your personal brand, like your style of speaking, the clapping, the repeating something sometimes. And so I jumped into this conversation. I'm curious if you noticed, like, trying to match your energy. You know,
And you know
I
what's
knew
crazy?
that that was going to be what I needed to do.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? If you know me, which you will, and you see me off camera, I'm an introvert.
No kidding, really.
I don't like to go out a lot. I get asked to go to VIP parties. I go there for a little bit, you know what I mean? That I chill, right? I like to stay low key. I like to, be by myself, you know what I mean? Me and my family. But it takes a lot of work to always be on stage. And when I mean on stage, I'm talking
True.
about physically and non-physically, right?
Right,
Because
right.
that's part of my energy that I bring. You know what I mean? Like right now, right? But off camera, I'm a little more mellow, chill. You know what I mean? But that's part of being. And when you speak it on stage, you speak it on camera. You have to be like that if you want people to feel energized. So the way you bring energy, you have to bring energy. Tony Robbins talk about this all the time, right? And so to
Right.
go back to rapport, the best thing I tell you guys, look up MatthewFerry.com. He teaches NLP class for salespeople. And he's been my mentor
That's
for
awesome.
years.
That's incredible. Thank you for that golden nugget. I think it's these little things like people can go, watch the YouTube videos, whatever, but it's like these intangible, just like the mindset things,
Yes.
because all of a sudden you start looking at something with a different lens, or just even the simple tennis analogy you gave.
Yes.
Like for example, I have somebody that lives across the street from me. Their parents passed away. They've owned the house since 1966. They bought it for $13,000. The mortgage was $105 a month. Can you imagine that? Fully paid off. It's on a double lot. And I'm like, oh, dude, Thatch. Like, I could build $2 million homes with ADUs over the garage on that. And I'm like, and I'm trying to build rapport. Now I'm thinking, I'm like gleaning this stuff from you. Like, what can I say now?
Yeah.
Because she wants to bring in another real estate agent, because she's an out-of-state real estate agent. She wants to be very careful. And there's 3 brothers and sisters involved, and now they got it from. And I'm like, okay, how can I create a win-win? This
Yeah.
isn't me being like insidious or anything. Like,
Yep.
how can I create a
Yeah. Yeah.
win-win? And I think that's all it is. I need to keep building rapport, text her something nice,
Yeah.
match her energy,
Yeah.
tell her
Matching
all I want to do is
personality.
help.
Yeah. Words, you
Yeah,
guys, in communication, words only play 30% of communication.
right.
Personality and body play 70% of communication. So
That's
not
so
what you
huge.
say that build rapport is who you're being that build rapport.
Got it. And you have to believe that that's who you are,
Well, I
right?
mean,
When
we
you're
are
talking
being
to
anyways, right? So we are human being, not human doing, right? So we're human beings. So
Yeah,
if the
I
lady
see. I see.
is a slow talker, don't go in and not be mindful of how slow she talks. And if you talk fast, she's gonna feel out of rapport because she's gonna feel that. What do you think when you have a fast talking salesperson in front of you, right? And you're a slow talker.
Yeah, I can see it'd be like nails on a chalkboard or something, right?
This guy's a slick salesperson trying to get over on me. And then
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
someone who talks fast and they get a salesperson to talk really, really slow. It fucking like, could you please get to the goddamn point? Those are just no.
That's such a good.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was massively tactical and helpful. So thank you so much for
Yep.
that. What about like what the actual tactics that you're doing on the real estate side when it comes to like you talk about ADUs, DADUs, like what what can you share that you think, like, if somebody wanted to get their first one of those deals,
Yes.
is there like a simple maybe wave tops framework, like do this and this and this kind of thing?
Yes. And you guys, I got a whole presentation at the live show you guys, okay?
Guys, you gotta go. This is
You
gonna be
gotta
our first sold out event on the Riverwalk in San Antonio. It's gonna be a blast.
let me
So yeah.
tell you guys and gals, okay? Matter of fact, I'm gonna be doing a 2-day training on next Monday and Tuesday on ADUs. If you guys, I'll give you the link
No
later. You can
kidding.
share it with them, okay?
Sure, sure. We'll put it in the show notes,
Yeah.
everything.
Yep. So the thing is this, everybody, is it is getting more and more expensive across the United States how to buy a turnkey with 20% out and make a cash flow. And then, depending where you live, sometimes buying a fixer house and rehabbing it, right? It's still relatively hard. And so now what happened is the city and the state are saying we got to create more affordable housing. And the only way to create more affordable housing, we got to make it cheaper. We got to make it more affordable. Well, how do we do that? Land is not, they're not growing off a tree anymore. And so what the city is doing all across America, starting in Seattle, they allow people to put a second structure in their backyard. If they have a house that's in front, a yard in the back, they allow them to put another structure in their backyard on a single family zone. Before, one single family home, one lot. Now, one single family home, you can put one house in the backyard. Some city allow 2 and 3, depending on how big the backyard is, depending on how dense it is. And what happened by doing that, they have a free, clear backyard, and all they got to pay for is construction. And now what's happening is they can actually build that, and they can actually rent it and create more affordable house for rent. And now city of Washington State and California State, now they allow them to sell the ADU separately now. So they can people can buy it, so they can buy it at an affordable price point on a single family. And this is what's happening. That's happening in real time. And most people don't even know this. That's why they're sleeping behind the wheel. I'm like the only person that's out teaching this stuff right now on social media. Only one. I know everybody out there that teaches real estate. I'm the only one that teaches it because I do it. I breathe it. And so what happened for you guys and gal is just Google, is ADU in your city? And you will be shocked to see the answer is yes. Okay.
That's why I'm excited, because I'm in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Yes, sir. It's there.
And I know. I like, first thing I noticed when I came here, I was like, every single garage has a little unit on top of it.
Yes.
And I'm mad at because I didn't know back then. It was 2022. I just got out of the military. Where my wife's family they're refugees from the war in Ukraine. Yeah. They landed on my lap while we were still in New Orleans. And so I was like selling my house in New Orleans, buying a house here. So we were living at my parents' house for a few months, and the market was crazy in 2022.
Yes.
I was putting $75K over on some homes. Didn't get them. It was not. It was not. The bidding wars were insane. And so I just got what I could get, and it was a new build, new construction, but so there was like a little bit less competition. But it pissed me off when I realized, like, wait a second, you guys could have built another unit over my garage. And so now I'm actually going to be looking for they have ADU builders here, that this is all they do.
Yes. See?
And so I'm actually like excited, because like last night, we were talking to our VP of operations. You're going to meet her. You're going to love her to death. She's super high energy. Her name's Betty Boyce. Yep. And so she owns 3 homes, but she has 6 doors, because each one of her homes has an ADU on it. She's cash flow. She's cash flowing $8,500.
It's the new age of owning rental in America. And here's the thing. If you got to buy an older home, let's say in your area, if I was coaching, I'd say go buy an older home so you can add value to the house in the front, so you can buy it for cheaper.
Yes, sir.
And then if they got the garage, then you add, because to add the unit above that, it's not that expensive. The infrastructure's already there. So you buy the home for cheaper, you add value to the house, then you add value by adding another unit. Now you have 2-unit income off of one property you bought. That's how you scale. And the cost of building that ADU, you're going to get a 1% and more rule in real estate.
Okay, let's talk about that. So how many of those?
If you did a garage conversion right above your thing, it might cost you, let's call it $70,000, right?
Okay. I had no. I mean, honestly, I'm a multifamily guy. Yeah. I'm just now learning this stuff. Like, okay, so because I do like commercial multifamily now. I'm like, okay, my personal home has this garage, and it's a 20 by. It's the perfect size for a little studio up there.
Of course.
Right?
Let's say it costs you $70,000 a studio.
Okay.
What's 700 square foot studio we rent for in your area right now, brand new, if you were to rent it right now? Or 1 bedroom, for example. What would you think of rent for?
So I'm seeing, I think, between $1,500 and $2,000.
There you go. This say cost you $70,000. $70,000, 1% is $700. If you get $1,500, you got a 2% rule of thumb in real estate.
Yeah.
That's how we are combating. Now, with the rates coming down too, it's going to make it even much better. And there's lenders out there, you guys, that specialize just doing ADU only. Now you can do ADU
Wow.
on
Yeah.
multifamily too, bro. You buy a 4-unit in the back,
Oh, okay.
you put more units in the back.
Hold up,
That's
hold
what
up.
I'm
Are you
doing.
saying when you're saying multifamily? Help me understand. So you're saying like commercial, or you're just saying like a fourplex,
A 4-plex,
and
a
then you
10-plex, right? I do it. There's a guy in California. He buy 8-plex, 10-plex in the back. He has yard and everything, right? He's putting 2, 3, 4 more units in the back. This
oh,
is the new
okay.
way. Forcing value, adding value is the new way to combat the expensive and beating affordable housing. And this is why the city is doing it all across the United States. And most people don't even know what's happening in real time in the background.
So let me ask you this: if you're saying that this is beneficial for not only you as a real estate investor,
Yes.
but also the city and the country, and fighting this affordable housing crisis right now, do you find that maybe in your area, does the city ever come to the table to assist in some certain way? Or
No.
no? I'm just curious.
Nope. But I
Okay.
will say this to you guys. Since you guys are vets, you have no idea on this. If I was coaching, this is what I say.
Okay.
Go buy a house that needs some work. Okay. And let's say I'm making this up, you guys. Let's say it's 350,000. It's gonna cost you 50 grand to rehab this house. You eat it for
Okay.
350, but it's worth 450. I'm making that up. There's a
Okay.
garage, and you can convert the garage into an ADU. Let's call it
Mm-hmm.
70 grand. So it's
Mm-hmm.
350 plus 70 is 420. But now this thing is worth, $500,000, right? As a VA, you can buy with no money down, and they will lend you money to buy the house and rehab and do the ADU, okay, with no money down. Now you could actually live in one side, get cash flow on the other side. You
I'm gonna
do.
call our lender and see what I can do on this one.
There
I
you go.
just, my current rate is, I'm not buying a new house. My current rate's like, it's not one of those mythical 2%ers from back in the
No,
day, but it's like it's a 4.5.
that's
I'm
real
pretty
good.
happy with it. Yeah, so I don't want to mess it up, but I'm curious if I can, what I can do, or maybe this is good timing because basically maybe I could get a separate construction loan just to get the ADU built,
You can,
and
or you can
then
up on your house and just take the HELOC money and just build it.
or that, yeah, because I've owned it for over 3 years. I probably have enough
House?
equity in it because
Yeah.
to do that,
Yeah.
and then yeah, and then that's it. And then now,
Right.
and I'd probably do midterm renting because that's one thing Betty is doing.
There you go.
She has this whole like catering to nurses, doctors,
Yes.
professionals,
And you
and
guys
she's
have a
getting
lot of that in the
50% more
area.
rent.
You have a lot of that in the
Yeah,
area. I would take the
yeah,
HELOC out of your house, pay cash for it, right? You put 70 grand, I'm gonna say 70. The mortgage on
yeah,
that
yeah.
HELOC might be like, $300, but you're renting out Airbnb, midterm, you get 2,000-3,000 a month. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Oh my goodness,
And then
yeah.
I want you to look
Pays
at,
for a vacation every three
I want,
months. Awesome.
I want you to look up Naval Credit Union. Oh,
Naval credit.
Naval,
Oh, Navy credit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna give you a hint, bro. Navy Credit Union can give VAs, people in the service or in the past, buy house with no money down. On the
Oh, yes, you're right. I know what you're talking about. They have their own 0% down
so
product. It's
yeah,
not even the VA loan.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not. They have their own zero. So imagine you have your VA in your house, and then you use Navy credit to go buy a rental, maybe with 0% down.
Yeah. No, that's exciting. I'm just excited that like this is something I feel like I can do now basically,
Yes.
because I'm always itching to do new things, and my primary focus is, I'm very big on focus because I've gotten way too distracted in my entrepreneurial journey, is my apartment complex stuff. But this is my primary residence. I already own it. I should squeeze more dollar bills
Of
out of it.
course.
You know what
And
I mean?
like garage, ADU above the garage, the midterm. Oh, bro, that's like, right? I do multifamily and I do ADU in Seattle because, and I tell you this from my own experience. You get a budget ADU play like what I'm talking about, it outperformed the ROI bottom line over in an apartment building.
I 100% believe that.
But
I
you
mean,
can't get a
Betty
1%.
Boys.
Yeah, you can't get a 1%
Yeah.
apartment building.
You can't.
You can't 1% on ADUs.
Or I mean, it sounds like damn near 2%,
That's what
right?
I'm saying, right? Imagine you have budget, and it take
Yeah.
and you guys, if you got, we can talk about this more at the event. If you,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
there that if you got to buy an ugly house, they will lend you the money. If you can create more than 25% in sweat equity, okay, you get your money back, and they give you money to buy the house, to rehab it, and build the ADU with no money out of your pocket.
Okay, let's talk about, because Thatch, I'm realizing there's so many people that like in our community that are also starting,
Yes.
right? So they might already like when me and you, Herc and Jab, we're talking right now, and they're like, oh yeah, I know what he means, but let's just in case, let's just
Yes.
step back. If you're listening to this and you're just getting into real estate, and you're like, wait a second, they're saying this 1% rule, 2% rule, what the hell are they talking about? Guys, it's super simple, okay? All it means is the price of the property that it can rent out monthly for 1% of that price. So it's a $400,000 house, then maybe it rents out at $4,000 a month. That's it. That's all we're talking about.
Yeah.
However, what Thatch is saying is, if this ADU, it cost me $70,000 to build, so it's a $70,000 ADU, but I can make $1,400. That's 2%. That basically, I almost don't care what the taxes and insurance are going to be.
Don't matter.
You're going to make money every
You're
month.
gonna make money on it.
So, and that's it's a rule of thumb that, back in the day actually was very useful, because you'd look it on Zillow and you'd be like, oh, there's a house for 200,000. I can rent it for 2,000. Boom. You're like, I'm going to look deeper.
Yeah.
That's not a thing in today's
Not a
economy.
thing no more. This is why when Brandon Turner and I were talking, also when I would interview with him in Maui, ADU now is in Hawaii now, and people are doing it in Hawaii. And what they do is they do midterm rental. They buy the property, add units on it, and they do midterm rental. So if I was talking to you guys again right now, we started at basic. If you brand new, you don't own anything yet, use your VA to buy a house with no money down. Okay. And then wherever city you're at, Google is ADU in my area. So you buy a house, you can buy turnkey, you can buy a house that needs to work. And VA will do 0 down. You can buy the house and they give you money to rehab the house, right? And part of that rehab is converting the garage into an ADU, for example. You can do all that with no money down. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
So you're saying not even potentially building on top of the garage. You're saying you could also just do something simpler and just convert the garage. Like if you have a 2-car garage, you could convert just the garage itself into an ADU.
Yes. Like I said, there's a 1-car garage attached to the house. Students are converting that 1-car garage and making that into a studio with a bathroom, a kitchen, right? And simple, 400 square feet.
You're kidding. Well, I mean, you know what? I laugh at that. I'm like, who would want to do that? But like, I remember when I was in flight school, we were renting out a 4-bedroom house, and I specifically asked all because it was like $1,800, 4-bedroom house. Can you imagine that? And it was $1,800, or no, it was like $2,400. I can't remember exactly, but I asked to have the smallest damn room because I wanted my rent to be. And this is what I negotiated with my friends. My rent was $200. We rent hacked, right?
Yes.
And I was like, because I was dating my now wife. She was all the way in France studying how to be a winemaker, and I was like, I was a second lieutenant at the time. I was making decent money, but like it wasn't enough to go fly to Europe every 3 or 4 months and like live in a hotel and take her to nice dates and restaurants. So I was like saving every dollar, and so I was like, I only want to pay. So I had this tiny little room, and I'm thinking like there's probably a lot of people my age who are studying something, starting a business or whatever, or my age back then, and they need affordable housing, and like you said, it's a crisis.
It's a crisis.
And so they're okay with maybe 400 square feet.
And 400 square feet for a single person, brand new, is a palace.
Yeah, that's bigger than my room was there.
Yes, you know what I mean. Now, there's some people that build ADU. This is a detached garage, and they convert that detached garage into an ADU. So that's a detached garage. And that worked well too. It's already there. This is the play. Hear me when I tell you, 2 years from now, it becomes the norm. But 2 years from now, when it becomes the norm, you're going to be paying for a house with the detached garage. And the owners go, I know what you're going to do with that garage. So I need more money for my house.
So you're saying sellers are going to get smart about this too. And they're going to say, hey, there's baked in value here. I want more.
That's right. They're normal.
What about appraisals? Do you think appraisals are going to start counting? But I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah. But appraisal now are all gearing up slowly but surely, depending where they're at, to find proper with ADU so they can value a house with ADU. Seattle, when they started 5 years ago, they couldn't have appraisal, right? They have to go find other property, then minus plus subtract. Now there's so many ADU in Seattle, so many ADU in California, right? In Las Vegas, in Phoenix, they call them casitas. You see what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
It's called casita, right? New York just approved ADU, right? Jersey approved, Atlanta, Denver, Chicago, they all got them now. Everybody got them now, right? And appraisal is just the thing. It's just gonna get, more and more caught up. But I'm just telling you right now, if you're asleep behind the wheel, the seller don't know that garage is valuable. So that's why I'm trying to buy everything up before everybody get caught up to the norm. People ask me, why do I teach this stuff? Because you know why? If I don't teach it, someone else is going to teach it. So I might as well teach it, right? Because I have the mindset of abundance, remember?
Yes,
I have
sir.
the mindset of contribution.
Gosh.
There's plenty of money for everybody.
So because this is going to be the coupon code, can
Yes.
you explain DADU? Is that
It stands for detached accessory dwelling unit. So in Seattle, when it's a
Boom.
detached, we call them DADU. When it's attached to the house, we call them ADU, attached accessory dwelling unit. When it's an ADU in the basement, we just call them ADU, right?
Okay.
So
or a BADU.
or a DADU, right? Yeah. But I'm going to tell you guys, all it says is this. If you want to make real estate cash flow in today's time, you got to buy value add property, just like an apartment building. And this is how they do value in single family now.
Yeah. AADU, a DADU, a BADU, that's automatically value add, right? And so that's incredible.
Think of how many houses across America got basement. If you knew this and you live in an area that it need affordable housing, you live upstairs and you create the downstairs, 2-bedroom, 1 bath with a basement with a kitchen, and you can rent it. Live upstairs, rent the basement, especially your first house. It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. It might even pay your entire mortgage if you do like midterm rentals and stuff. And so, I honestly,
different.
I didn't even think about the basements. Yeah,
different than buying a duplex. It's no different than buying a fourplex.
You're right.
But that's multifamily. This is single family. The good thing is, in a multifamily, you buying a 4-unit. In a single family, you buying a single family. But when you're done, you have a duplex, triplex, or fourplex for less the price than a fourplex.
It's crazy because my parents, when they lived in Ohio, they had a massive house because houses in Ohio are where they lived was very inexpensive. And they had the biggest freaking basement ever. And I remember they like put in a separating wall just to create a room. And I'm like thinking back, I'm like, oh my God, they could have had a mini city down there. It was huge.
Yeah.
And I was like, they could have had like 3 units there or whatever the heck, or even do like a co-living situation, just like create like a basement only entry with keys and everything. And I'm like, whoa.
Why do you think this new thing called house pad is so catching on fire? Right? Someone buy a 3-bedroom, 1 bath Rambler, let's say in Arizona, and then what they do is they convert the living room, the dining room to a bedroom. They make walls up and they make them and they rent 3-bedroom, and the living room and dining room become bedroom, and they rent them. So that's another form of that. But the problem is when you ever sell it, it don't have the same value of a house and a real structure ADU.
True.
But when you do Airbnb on this, you make way more money, and it's separate. And the resale value is crazy compared to a house pad. House pad. This is the real hack.
And something I just thought about, the resale value also, not even the resale value, but the affordability for a buyer.
Yes.
Even though it has a higher value, because they can probably use the long-term rent price to offset, to contribute to their DTI, their debt to income ratio, right?
Yes. And here's the thing. Everyone soon will be able to sell the ADU or the primary house, whatever one they want to keep. We choose to sell the primary house, keep the ADU, because the primary house has all the debt. So the cash flow is very low on that. The back is no debt because the land is free and all we have as a debt as a construction.
God. So wait.
Back,
Hold up. Are you selling the primaries right now? Is that what you're saying?
course. We buy an ugly house, we rehab it. Because let's say you buy a house for $700,000, you put 100 into it, that's 8. Well, you can rent that out for 4,000, 4,500, but you got most of the debt on this, but the backyard was free. So when we can sell it separately, the backyard is free, and then all we got to pay is the construction, which is $350, but we rent it for $4,000. So that has more value, and we can sell it separately.
Nice.
So you sell the one that has the worst ROI versus the best. So then you just have a whole bunch of ADU, brand new building all across town, and that's how
Guys, this is varsity thinking. This is
varsity,
separating.
Games.
Yeah. So you're separating emotion from just raw numbers here, because I like emotionally, you want to think, oh, if I'm going to sell something, I'm going to sell the ADU because I want to keep the main house. That's the emotions talking. But the numbers are saying, no, screw the main house, get all that money back, and then just rinse and repeat. It's the new Burr even,
It's the new Burr. It's the new version Burr. And here's the thing. Every city is going to be able to sell their ADU or primary separately soon. State of Washington, California has it now. Everybody else is coming because every city council, every planning department are trying to catch up to try to get all the paperwork ready, right, and prepared so they can do it. Washington had it 3-4 years ago. California just got it now. And everybody else is copying it, and they're all doing it. So if you know that's coming, just buy a house and just rent it out for now. Who cares if it's not separated? But when they separate, they value it as 2 individual houses. That's the appraisal coming as 2 individual houses, not a duplex.
Yeah. So it's like the appraisal was 1 when you just had a single family. Then the appraisal, obviously got appreciated a lot because now you had 2. And then the appraisal gets even bigger when you split the appraisal.
You have 2 houses.
So it's like, 2 houses. Okay, guys, this has been incredible.
A lot about this at the event, just so y'all know.
Yes, we're going to get super. I mean, Thatch, so also the point of the event is 2 things. It's a Thanksgiving for our community. We have so many super fans that have been with us since like the beginning of 2017. We have people flying in from Guam, Japan, Germany, all the time. It's incredible. And we all get together, and it's just great to just energized, do real estate together, be entrepreneurs together. But also, the other point, this year specifically, is super, something wrong with my audio, is to get super tactical. And so that's why when we were discussing keynotes, we were like, we need you there because this is tactics, baby. And guys, as a reminder, detached accessory dwelling unit, DADU is the coupon code. By the time this is released, I don't know, we might be sold out, but just go to militaryreicon.com and you'll see Thatch there. You'll give him a high five. You'll give me a high five. We're going to hang out together. We're going to see Thatch tell his story and get into it even more tactical. Thatch, I'm so excited to have you there. This has been my favorite interview. Like, I'm so pumped. This is awesome. I'm
going to leave you guys off with this thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Tactic and strategy is worth nothing unless you master your mindset. This is my license plate of my Lamborghini. Okay?
Yes.
All right. I got a brand new Lamborghini Revolto. If anybody, if you Google it, Lamborghini Revolto, this is my brand new plate. So you got a tabs on it yet. I got to go get it. It's in California. Tactic and strategy is worthless unless you master mindset and you master taking action consistently.
Consistently. I love that. That's one of my favorite words.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And the great thing that they understand action and they understand how to be disciplined. They just need to create a whole new mindset.
You know what? If I would love to have you back on someday to just talk about mindset. I can go forever just about mindset, but you have been tremendous. I just really wanted to give everybody a glimpse into the tactics and strategies that you can talk about. We'll focus on mindset and tactics and strategies at the event, guys. Thatch, again, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for being on our podcast. Thank you for contributing to our mission to serve the military. Take care.
Peace. Peace.